Here's the question you have to ask yourself. If you're a part of some kind of group or some kind of community, or if you're following some kind of leader or teacher, the question you have to ask is, what is the energy behind the group or behind the teacher? Is it an energy that is empowering you or disempowering you? Is it an energy that is coming from love or is it coming from fear? And the way you can notice this is if it's coming from fear, there's going to be some kind of sense of you're going to feel like you're being controlled. You're going to feel like you're being limited. You're going to feel like you're being disempowered. But if it's coming from love, you're going to feel inherently liberated by the energy from this. You're going to feel limitless. You're going to feel like you can live authentically, and that the divine within you is being activated so that you can live out your highest potential. These are things that you're going to feel. You're not going to think about them or kind of get them on the level of the mind. No, this is going to be something you can feel in your body. It's going to be intuitive, and you're going to know yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing right now, because I am empowered, I'm liberated, and I can live authentically, because that's what love does. Love sets us free to be ourselves, and it frees us from other people of trying to prove ourselves or trying to show that we are enough and worthy. No, the truth is we already are enough. We already are worthy and whole and complete. And all those things we're searching for and seeking for externally are already realities. They're already inherent truths of our being that we just have to keyword realize. Realization is where it's at, because realization is just this uncovering of the thing that is preventing us from experiencing the truth. It's not about getting the truth. It's not about attaining the truth. It's not about outsourcing our power to some kind of system or to some kind of leader or spiritual guru or a pastor or a priest. No, it's about uncovering the innate power that we've always had, which comes with being divine. But here's the thing. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that you are divine. They tell you that you're lost, that you're a sinner, and that you need someone to come and save you, or you need some kind of spiritual regeneration so that you can then be accepted in the eyes of God. But this is something that, what is it doing for you? What is it telling you? Well, it's saying that you're not enough inherently. It's saying that you are powerless and you have to go through something, or you have to believe in something in order to, at some point, at some day in the future, then experience some kind of, salvation or enlightenment. It's always carrot and stick. It's always out in the future, and it's always contingent on your obedience or your confession or your attendance, or fill in the blank. You have to do something. It's conditional in order for you to be okay, in order for you to get the acceptance and love that we're all searching for deep down. But to me, that's not the true good news. That's not the true quote unquote gospel. The true good news is that you are already whole. You are already complete. And we just need to hear this. We need to be shown this. And the more we hear this and we see it and we accept it, then the subconscious mind takes it and it starts to make that a reality for us in our everyday lives. And this is how we become empowered. And so that's why, I go back to what I said in the beginning, the energy behind the teacher, behind the movement, behind the group, behind the whatever it is, the community, if it's an energy that's empowering you, you'll notice that there's going to be this repetitive assurance. There's going to be words spoken over you that liberate you, and you're going to feel lighter and lighter and lighter each time you hear this. And at first, if you've experienced any kind of conditioning that has to do with disempowerment or religion or anything like that, and you've gone through years of subconscious programming of hearing that you're a sinner, you're not enough, you'll never be enough, and all these things that are just super negative, then yeah, it's going to take some time for you to hear the truth and for the subconscious mind, your subconscious mind, to accept that truth before it starts to actually manifest in your life. However, if you just become open to that and you start allowing yourself to accept that and embrace that, then over time, you will start to notice an inner transformation. And to use a Bible verse, which this is one of my favorite verses in the Bible, it's Romans 12:2, where it says, do not be conformed to the patterns of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. This is exactly what happens when you allow the positivity and the truth and the empowerment and the light and the love and the peace to start to become the sole focus of your awareness. When you start to take this in and you start to accept it, like I said, little by little, this is when the subconscious mind takes this new information and it starts the new programming. And this is when you're transformed. But to be conformed to the patterns of this world is to just settle for what's being said and taught in the mainstream, which is just like I said, you're not enough, and you're unworthy, and you're sinful, and you're inherently wicked, or whatever they're teaching, original sin. And it just keeps you trapped. It keeps you stuck in this mentality of not being enough and having to outsource your power. Well, but what I'm here to tell you is that you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to live that way, because the beautiful truth of reality is that you absolutely have the power, because you are divine. And when you go through any kind of season of deprogramming, and then you enter into the wilderness season where you're like, okay, I don't know anything, and you're questioning all these like things that you grew up believing were absolute fundamental truths, and it can feel scary, it can feel uncertain, it can feel mysterious, and it can just feel like you're losing this like sense of who you thought you were. On the other side of that, on the other side of this wilderness season, is a new day, and there's a new state of being available for you to step into. And when you step into this new state of being, this new way of being, this is when the world starts to change around you, because now you're carrying the light of the world, and you're illuminating the path for yourself and for other beings that you encounter. And this is what the spiritual journey is all about. So this is, in my opinion, like when you can start to liberate other people, and you can start to show them the truth of their being, and you're saying, hey, look, don't listen to me. Don't follow me. Don't believe what I'm saying. All I'm telling you is that the truth is within you. And if you go within yourself and you do your own inner work, and you spend some time in meditation and in silence and in solitude, then you can come to know the truth for yourself without me telling you, hey, just believe this and accept it, because I know the truth and I've got the correct doctrines and dogmas and theology, and you've got to believe in my belief structure in order to be fill in the blank saved or included. No. That's not the approach I'm talking about. The approach I'm talking about is to literally tell someone, hey, all I'm here to do is to point you to the truth that's already within you, and for you to discover that truth for yourself. And I personally believe that the best method for that, at least in my experience, it may be different for you because there's many different methods for this, but the best method in my experience has been meditation, because for me, meditation is simply about letting go of all the things that are preventing me from experiencing who I really am. And when I started to meditate, like for real, like seriously, about 3 years ago, when I started to meditate and I made it a daily practice, and I made it something that I was going to really focus on and make it a priority in my life, this is when all the layers of egoic conditioning and religious conditioning and the programming that I was brought up with, which had to do a lot with like disempowerment and the belief that I am not enough, all that started to dissipate without me trying to like get rid of it, because I was just going within myself for the first time, and I was moving past the level of the mind. And as long as you're living from the headspace, as long as you're living from the level of the mind, you're going to be in this pattern and in these like cycles that keep you stuck, because we're not meant to be living from the headspace, living from the mind all of the time. The mind is a great servant, but it's not supposed to be our master. It's not supposed to be something that is controlling our lives. We're supposed to use it like a tool. We're supposed to use it as something that helps us navigate life here on earth, but we're not supposed to be in our heads all of the time. If we're in our heads all of the time, we're going to be blinded to what is. We're going to be living according to an illusion. And this is when we're easily controlled, and this is where we can be programmed. But if we make the shift from the head space into the heart space, which is really, I think, the whole purpose of meditation, to start living more from the heart, heart-centered, then all of a sudden, you view the mind as a tool that you need, that you use every now and then, but then you return right back to your heart, and you're grounded in your heart center. And now you're liberated, because the heart is inherently liberated. It just is. It's just free. It's where the divine dwells. And it's where you discover your own divinity. And when you're living from this place, then all of a sudden you start to walk in the way of love and life and light and peace and joy and compassion and acceptance and enlightenment. And like I said, it's effortless. You're not trying to do anything. You're just being, and out of your being, there is tremendous fruit being produced. Okay, so that's why I said, for me, meditation has been the most helpful method for me to make that shift, to start living more from the heart. And I do get caught up in the old patterns and the tendencies from time to time. But all I do is I just return my focus back to my heart center, and doing that keeps me grounded. It keeps me focused on what is. It keeps my awareness in the ever-present moment, the eternal now. And so, yeah, you've got to explore what method works best for you, but this is the telltale sign of anyone that you're going to be listening to, or anyone that you're going to be following, or any group you're going to be a part of. What's the energy, and what are they leading you into? Are they telling you, hey, I've got the one and only truth, and if you don't believe in me, or if you don't believe in our group, then you're damned, then you're lost, then you're screwed? Or are they telling you, hey, you know what, you've got the truth within you, and I'm going to point you to that truth, and I'm going to help you see that truth for yourself within yourself. But ultimately, this is your truth, and you have to live authentically, and you've got to discover it for yourself. I can't discover it for you. And then eventually, if we're talking about some kind of we're talking about in the context of like a guru and a disciple or a follower or something like that, some kind of teacher, some kind of leader in a spiritual context. There comes a point in time where the disciple, the follower, the student is going to leave the guru. It's going to leave, he or she is going to leave the teacher. And this is healthy, this is normal. If there's not a time for that, then that person more than likely is being controlled and probably manipulated by the one that is the quote-unquote leader. And they're not actually leading. Again, they're trying to control you for power or for whatever. And this is something you can definitely feel, because there's fear connected to this. And whenever you're controlled, you know that something's off. You know that this is not what you were created for. Your divine design is liberation, like I keep saying. And so if you don't feel that liberation, which is always directly connected with love, then this is a red flag. This is a sign that you need to go elsewhere. You need to run. You need to let go of that particular group or following that particular person. So you've got the spirit of truth within you, and that spirit of truth will lead you into all truth, but you have to trust that truth. You have to be okay with trusting yourself. And this is something else, if you've been programmed to believe that you are inherently wicked and that you're a sinner, you may have trouble trusting yourself, because you believe deep down that you're not trustworthy, and that you're wicked, and that you're unreliable, and that there's something off with you. And so why would you trust yourself, right? But again, this is part of the disempowerment programming. This is part of the conditioning that has limited you, that has kept you in this state of fear and this state of victim mentality, in this state of unworthiness, and all these things that just keep us in the lower frequencies. But as soon as you recognize this, which, by the way, recognition, pattern recognition, is one of the first signs of true awakening. Once you can start to see what's actually going on, then you can start to make a move in the opposite direction. You can make that paradigm shift into the path of unlearning and deprogramming. And you can become honest with yourself, and you could say, hey, you know what, all these things I've been taught and told, they were things that were just given to me, and I was told I had to believe in these things, or, you know, I was gonna not be accepted or forgiven or loved by God. You know, there's always some kind of like condition or scare tactic attached to me not believing in the doctrine or in the dogma or in the belief structure of the group. But now you're picking up on all these patterns, and you're seeing what's actually going on. This is that divine inherent wisdom that's starting to arise from within you, that's illuminating the path for you. And this is what I'm talking about. This is literally the intuition that is within yourself. This is that deep inner knowing that you have, the spirit of truth that will guide you into all truth. And it doesn't rely on anyone else outside of you to show you that truth or to lead you in that direction. That's what I'm talking about. The paradigm shift, the pattern recognition, and then you becoming aligned with your intuition, with your own intuitive heart. All these things kind of start to happen simultaneously. And this is what I think true awakening is. And then you can start to practice meditation or whatever your practice is, which will start to teach you how to live from the heart center, which will enable you to live even more free, because now you're living from love instead of from fear. And not only are you liberated, but now you're liberating other people, and it's just a beautiful thing. So yeah, pay attention to the energy. Don't ignore the red flags. Don't ignore the signs. And once you awaken, once you become liberated, your calling, your purpose is to not just stop with yourself, but no, you become a beacon of light. You become the light of the world, and you become a vessel for the divine, which ultimately is you, to work through your particular incarnation so that you can start to liberate those around you, and then they start to liberate others. And this is when we experience a collective shift in the consciousness of humanity. And this is what the spiritual journey, in essence, is all about. As souls are evolving and as we are becoming more and more aware of the truth of reality, which is oneness. It goes from a theory, it goes from a thought, it goes from something to believe in to a direct, life-changing experience. But remember, wherever you are on the path, be aware of the energy. Feel the energy. What is your body telling you? What is your intuitive heart telling you? Do you feel liberated, or do you feel limited? That's the question. So I think that's it for today. If you found this video helpful, informative, or insightful, please leave a thumbs up at the bottom of the screen, and be sure to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.